everyone, welcome to this video on my channel, and here I will be previewing the draw for the World Cup, FIFA World Cup. I'm obviously very excited about it. I'm also going to be making my dream draw, so let's get into the pots. You can see them on screen wherever I put it. So for Qatar, they'll want a group where they'll be good enough to get out. So the easiest might be for them USA or Mexico, Tunisia for definite, and probably I'd say the winner of UEFA Parfait, which would be Wales, Ukraine, or Scotland. Now you could also have Croatia, Tunisia, and Costa Rica or New Zealand, but I think Costa Rica have been getting better, so I'd say more desirably that first option would be the one for Qatar. I'm not going to go into every details, but I think it's a fairly strong pot. You're probably going to want, as a team of another pot, you're probably going to want to play Qatar because they're the weakest of them all. And if you look at pot two, if you're a pot one team or even pot 3 or 4, you're going to be wanting to avoid Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands because the standout strongest teams from that group. Who knows? We could get France or Brazil against Germany. Imagine how big that would be. That would be huge. And then you've got some other fairly strong teams in there with Switzerland, and then the rest are they are good, but they are prone to having some off days. But I'd say overall it's a good pot, and they're all good teams. And then pot 3, it's a very competitive one. Apart from Tunisia, I think Canada's would probably be better there. I mean, you've got Senegal, Iran, Serbia, 3 very strong nations, Japan as well, Morocco, some competitive teams. So I think, and even most of them, from a Qatari point of view, it probably doesn't scream as someone you want to play. And for pot 4, Canada and Ecuador are the obvious teams that you will want to avoid, and a number of unknown teams. So I mentioned the Parfait. I think with the potential of Peru being one of the playoff winners, I think teams will want to avoid them, even though they're not the greatest team. But yes. So that's a bit of a rundown. And as far as my dream draw, now I did want Tunisia, but unfortunately Canada had to not pick up a win at Panama, so therefore they fall back to pot 4, and I don't want to play them. So yeah, I'm gonna not have Tunisia in my dream draw. My dream draw, as an England fan, with England, I want the USA, because when England play USA, it's always a great occasion. Gets you excited. Just overall a great sporting occasion, whether it's football, Olympics, golf, a number of other sports where it's more competitive. Not so much of the reason that they're one of the easiest teams, but I think of the fact that what it brings as an occasion, England versus USA. That's why I want them. For pot 3, I want Serbia, because I don't want the group to be too easy, because that could potentially be not, because that could not be good for England going forward when they then have to play harder teams. Imagine going from playing, say, Mexico, Tunisia, and let's say Wales, for example, and then you step up in the quarterfinals and have to play France or Germany, for example. So having Serbia in there, they're a good team. They're not the strongest of that. They're not strong compared to like Germany, Denmark, Netherlands, for example, or even I'd say they're below Switzerland as well. They've got good players. They'll be competitive, and I think that will be a good test for England. And I wouldn't expect England to lose that one either. And then from Group 4, I'd say Ghana, but at the same time, I don't want Ghana to. Ghana probably is one of my second teams, so I could maybe pick them. But the team I have gone with is Cameroon because I think they've got some good players in them, but they're still a good African team, but they're not the greatest African team. If Tunisia were in pot 4, I would pick them, and I'd say they're also better than Ghana. So I'd say Ghana or Cameroon, but I'll lean towards Cameroon because I like Ghana more. So yeah, they've certainly got a number of issues to exploit. So yeah, that's my group, my dream draw: England, USA, Serbia, Cameroon. We'll see what happens. So, and group I'd most want to avoid would be Germany. A number of these pot 3 teams are to the same standard. So I think probably the hardest might just about be Senegal and then Ecuador, because Ecuador, they've been on fine form. I would fancy England to beat Ecuador, but they've been on the up as of Canada and could potentially be too good for this pot 4. They're better than most of the teams in pot 4, and having had a good qualification campaign in South America, that's going to be one to avoid. And what would Qatar like to avoid most? Probably the same as what I just mentioned. I mean, if the hosts get a draw, it's too tough for them, and they can't even get out of the group, then that could sour the tournament a bit. I guess there could be a number of interesting draws you could have. I mean, Iran and Saudi Arabia are teams I fancy England to beat, but they're not my first choice draws because they're going to have big crowds with them. It's going to be like a home game for all the team, and I think overall it will make it a little bit difficult. We'll add an extra layer. So yeah, so I guess that's pretty much about it. Giving you an idea of what to expect, what might happen, what my dream draw is, what Qatar might want, and what do you think? What are your thoughts ahead of this draw? Let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to read, no matter where you're from, and give me your dream draw as well. I'd be interested to hear. And I think group of death, I'd say France, Germany. You could put France or Brazil. It's fairly interchangeable. Germany. You could even put Netherlands there, Ecuador as in a pot four. I'd say you could probably put most of pot three teams in there as well. But I think that's another point, because the gap in quality between most of these teams are going to be not that big. You will probably get like 3 group of death draws. So yeah, but I'm going to leave it there. That's pretty much my thoughts. Let me know what you think. And the road to 2022 is getting very much closer.